Alright, that should be good enough. Don't ask me how long I spent doing that. Please. Kevin Abstract, artist, pop star, visionary. If you're watching this video, you probably already know who I'm talking about. The artist from Texas who already has a genre-defining discography on his own, but also created one of the most influential and pivotal groups in hip-hop/pop/music history, has just released and is riding the wave of this massive project that he has spent countless hours on combining and collaborating with all of these unique artists to create this piece of art that no one really expected. Sure, it had been teased multiple times throughout last year and early this year that Kevin Abstract was releasing new music, but I don't think anyone thought it was going to be to this scale. An album that not only had a bunch of features, but brought those features in to be a part of something greater, something beyond the album, a group that was going to be this creative powerhouse of art, music, design, literally every single thing under the umbrella. That, my friends, is Blush. So let's talk about it. Because if you don't know, my name is Henry, I love music, and this is where I talk about it. If you've never seen me before, welcome. I upload music commentary videos every week, whether it's about albums, artists, topics, you name it. And I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe. We just crossed 900 subscribers a couple days ago, and I couldn't be more thankful. Thank you if you already are subscribed, but if you're not, you should. But enough of that, let's keep talking about Blush, the album, which is also a group, which is also a concept, which is also so many things. It's so interesting. I'm gonna have timestamps in the description, so if you wanna skip to a certain part of Blush or a certain part of this whole process, feel free. I'm gonna start talking about the rollout of Blush first. Now, Blush as an album follows the 2023 album Blanket from Kevin Abstract, which was kind of this strange shoegaze concept album with like Five Nights at Freddy's looking mascots. It was a diversion from the normal Kevin Abstract formula. And while I do think this album is very underrated and kind of got forgotten too easily, I think it set the scene for the future of Kevin Abstract's career. The album made it very clear that Kevin wanted to explore his options outside of the genre that he usually created in, and was looking at all of these different things. So a lot of time passes, Kevin starts releasing music that doesn't really relate to any album itself, until we get to October of 2024, where he goes on to the Danny Brown Show.
What should I do? Henry loves Ninja.
Now, while exchanging stories from both artists' career, Kevin does confirm he's working on new music. And while this isn't the first confirmation he was working on a new album, I think this was the one that I remembered. Fast forward to January of 2025, he posted on Twitter that he was looking for rappers and singers for a new project he was working on. And I want you to keep this in mind because yes, the rollout does go that far back, and yes, this is very important. Now, after that tweet, the rollout officially started on May 2nd, where Kevin started posting on his second Instagram account pictures that said June 2025. June 2025, June 2025, June 2025. That was when his album was going to be releasing. And the post later migrated over to his main accounts on all social media platforms. It was obvious the rollout was officially starting. It just wasn't obvious what direction it was going to go in. After some continuous teasing and reminders that Kevin was creating new music, this photo shoot dropped, which nobody really expected. It featured Kevin and fellow artists Quadeca and JPEG Mafia. Now, while I wouldn't say this is necessarily very shocking, Kevin has worked with both artists before and has continuously stated his love for both artists' music. It was very surprising to see them all in one place, and when something like this happens, the fans automatically assume one thing: they all have music coming out together. Now, on the same day as that photo shoot was posted by JPEG Mafia, this happened. The actual album announcement, Blush. Now, at this point in time, we still thought this was just a normal album. There wasn't really anything to say otherwise other than the people mentioned in the photo shoot, but we just thought they were features at the time. Until Kevin dropped this. Kevin made a post to his socials on May 26th saying that Blush was more than an album. It was a group. But it wasn't the kind of group you're thinking of. It wasn't a boy band like Brockhampton. There weren't any set members. It was more like a group of creatives. It wasn't just the artists that were members of Brockhampton. It was the graphic designers. It was the audio engineers. It was everybody that went into being a part of the album. And most importantly, the fans were a part of it too. Around the time the album was rolling out, Kevin turned his entire Discord into a big job application. I'm sorry who that offended. Saying that you, yes, you could be a part of Blush if you really wanted to. He was asking graphic designers, he was asking singers, rappers, everybody to post their work in the server. A lot of it would get posted over the time of the conversion of the server to even right now, he's still reposting a lot of the stuff. And Kevin would be very vocal about what was going on with the album in that server, letting the fans truly be a part of the experience. Kevin would continue posting random things about Blush, whether it was artists that inspired this album, artists that were going to be a part of Blush, or the greater picture of Blush. But more importantly, an announcement came on June 5th when he announced a single with Dominic Fike releasing before the album. Dominic Fike had already been teased to be a major part of the album and even a part of a sub-duo within Blush called Geezer, with Kevin kind of clarifying what Geezer was as opposed to Blush. But all that aside, Geezer by Kevin Abstract with Dominic Fike was the first lead single to this album. It was received very well. The guitar melodies were very swanky and funky. It was very catchy. It really seemed like this was going to be shaping up to be really cool. The next major thing to happen was on June 9th with the release of this image, which seemed to be a version of the album cover with all of the features / members. And I want to point out a few things from this list because it got a lot of people thinking. The first thing I feel like I need to point out is the inclusion of Ameer Vaughn. I'm sure you guys remember, but Ameer was a former member of Brockhampton. But it wasn't the fact that he was the only returning member of Brockhampton to be a part of this album. It was the controversy that made him leave Brockhampton that was bringing up the questions. If you will recall, Ameer Vaughn was removed from Brockhampton for alleged sexual misconduct and attempted robbery on one of their friends, which led to their album Puppy being scrapped and led to essentially the dissolving of the group as a whole. So when the images of Ameer being a part of Blush were being released, and this image with him being a confirmed feature was released, people didn't really know what to think. Ameer still kept up his solo career after Brockhampton and had still been releasing his music prior to Blush, but it never really seemed like there was a resolution to anything that happened with his removal from Brockhampton. All in all, Ameer's inclusion caused a lot of confusion. I didn't mean for that to rhyme. Confusion that's still around in the fan base right now that I don't think we'll be getting any answers to anytime soon, so let's just hope it goes well. The next thing I want to point out is the confirmation of the rest of the features. It confirmed Quedeca in JPEG Mafia, just like the photo shoot. It announced Danny Brown as a feature and artists like Secco and Truly Young. But the most important thing in my opinion was the rising stars from Houston that were announced on the cover. If you'll remember from earlier that tweet that I had shown where he was asking for talent, rappers, singers, stuff like that, I believe that is where this came from. The Blush rollout truly does go all the way back there. On June 12th, the official release date and the official album cover for Blush was revealed, being June 27th, along with the single Geezer being released as well. But it's the announcement that occurred the day after that I feel like is one of the most important parts of this album itself, and also for another album that we haven't talked about yet. And that is the announcement that Blush would be releasing under Quedeca's new music company, X8 Music. In collaboration with Kevin's new record label Juno, X8 was what Blush was going to be releasing under, and I believe also what would be distributing the album. There aren't really a lot of details around this, it's kind of confusing. And you might be asking, what is X8 Music anyways? Like, where did it come from? Why is he releasing it under this? We're gonna have to veer off the side of the road for a little bit to fully explain what this is. So let's talk about Vanisher Horizon Scraper. It wouldn't truly be a video for my channel if everything went right, so obviously something didn't go right. While I was explaining what Vanisher was, for some reason the audio on my mic fried, like completely, and none of it was understandable, so I'm gonna re-record that section. There may be other sections of the video that I have to re-record, I'm not quite sure yet, but if you see a bit of a setting change, that's why. Vanisher is the upcoming album from Quedeca that he started promoting in March. It's this very orchestral and emotional feeling concept album about a sailor that vanishes at sea. And it's from this rollout that the X8 website and music company kind of stems from. Originally it just seemed like it was something lore based to the album, but it kind of evolved into much more as the rollout continued. This, along with the news that Quedeca was actually the executive producer of Blush, it revealed that this was something in the works for a while and that X8 is a lot more than we thought it was going to be. It also explained why the Vanisher rollout kind of slowed down a little bit when the Blush rollout started. I'm gonna talk more about that in the Vanisher video whenever it's done, but for now, I'll leave it at that. Now, the remainder of the Blush rollout was a lot less crazy. It was just focused on fan content, track list reveals, different snippets, stuff like that. Kevin revealed that there was going to be an album release party in Houston where he'd play the entire album the day before it released. And just like that, Blush was ours. I kind of forgot how crazy the rollout was until I just said all of it again. There was a lot that happened. Blush was an 18-track, 45-minute album with a bajillion different artists. It was amazing. It showed Kevin really embracing the group that he had just formed and spotlighting everybody when they truly needed it. There are multiple times on this album where an artist will get a solo track like Danny's track or Abandon Me, which was Quedeca's track. Whenever artists would get featured, it didn't feel like they were being overshadowed by anybody. This crazy group of people, which before Blush was even a thing, we wouldn't have really thought would have worked together, made this insane project that is going to be one of the contenders of my favorite albums of the year. Post-Breakup Beauty, Nola, Abandon Me, those are all such crazy tracks that I just, literally before, if you showed me this a year ago, I would have thought you were crazy. I would have thought this could never have happened. And the positivity that I'm getting it is not just me. It seems like that's the general consensus, whether it be the people vibing at the release parties, the people showing love to it on social media, the Blush Discord still being insanely active after the album's release. It's beautiful. It really is so beautiful. When this video comes out, the album will have been out for exactly a week, and it's already very obvious the impact it is going to have on the community and just in this space as a whole. This album came out at a time where everybody was reminiscing Brockhampton, even Kevin himself. The talent that the group had, the art that they had been releasing, just the insanity of it all. Even I had made a video a few weeks ago asking the question, would we even ever get a new group like Brockhampton? And to this day, I still want to separate Blush and Brockhampton because they are two very different things. Where Brockhampton was purely a boy band, Blush is a lot more involved, it's a lot more fluid, it's a lot more open to outside opinions. And to me, I think community was a big goal of this group or this idea. Kevin has always been super active within the community, within his fan base, or just in music itself, so it's not very surprising that this album was so active in the community. But you also do have to take a step back and realize that this hasn't really been done before at this scale. Which is why I think Blush is going to continue having that impact and why I'm insanely excited about its future, because Kevin is already talking about working on Blush 2. Blush is truly a love story to music. It's a love story to Texas, where Kevin grew up. It's a love story to this camaraderie and this collaboration between all of these different voices who, when you take a step back, shouldn't really work together, but whenever you mesh them together, it makes something crazy. Because in my opinion, Blush is going to be a name you hear for a very long time. So congrats to Kevin, congrats to everybody that was a part of this group, because it's really cool. And y'all are gonna be talked about for a while. But with that being said, I'm gonna cap it off right there. I feel like I talked about everything I wanted to talk about with this album. I talked about everything I wanted to talk about within the group, and I think I gave my appreciation for it pretty well. If any Blush people are watching this, thank you so much for what you've done. I really do think this is a very, very, very special project. Again, if you're new here, you should subscribe. I'm so close to 1,000 subscribers. I'm not gonna beg for it, but that would be really cool. Because I'm gonna keep making videos like this. I'm gonna keep talking about the thing I love, the music that inspires me and formed my life. So you should stick around. But with that being said, see you next time, next week, whatever. Goodbye.